Everyone. Hi, Cindy. Thanks for joining us this morning. My name is Carmen Swartz. I'm the Manager of Business Services with the Chamber. Please join me in a moment to reflect and recognize the traditional lands we find ourselves on this morning. Those are the Matagami First Nation and the Treaty 9 territory. I want to take a moment to use my platform today to encourage attendees to reflect on truth and reconciliation, commissions to action, and commit to actionable reconciliation together. The Chamber will attend National Indigenous Peoples Day on June 21st, held at the Hollinger Park. Our staff team will be there. We encourage all of you to join us at the Hollinger Park on that day. Thanks for joining us today, Cindy, to discuss building permits for new builds and more specifically site plan control. Cindy Welsh, Manager of Planning with the City of Timmins, will lead today's discussion. So Cindy, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Carmen, and thank you very much to the Chamber for inviting the City of Timmins here today. So this is the first of a few sessions that the Chamber is going to be hosting with the city relating to development and development proposals within the municipality. So the first session is obviously, it's called Site Plan Control for new building developments. And might as well just get right into it.
All right, let's do it.
So one thing at the city we stress is early consultation even before pre-consultation. So what this entails is that the owner or the developer or their authorized agent is advised to contact the City of Timmins Planning Division to confirm whether or not the proposed development is subject to site plan control, or whether or not there's an existing site plan control agreement registered on title relating to the property that the owner wants to develop, and whether or not that agreement needs to be amended for any new proposed development that the owner is planning on moving forward with.
Cindy, I did mean to ask if someone has a question, did you want them to unmute and ask that question, type it in, and we'll go back to it later, or?
At the end.
At the end? Okay, perfect. So if you want to keep track of your questions, and we'll definitely do that at the end.
Okay, thank you. So what is site plan control? So site plan control is a legislative tool under Section 41 of the Planning Act, and it's used to ensure that development is done in a safe and efficient manner. So even if development proposals meet the existing zoning requirements, site plan control may still apply. So what does site plan control do? It outlines details for good development, such as parking areas, elevation and grades, buffering, storage of waste, lighting, entrances and exits, road widening, and services. So this would include water supply and sewage disposal services. And one recent development that was just completed is Laronde, and it was subject to site plan control as well. So I just wanted to bring that up to the members so that they have an understanding of what site plan control actually does. So within the City of Timmins, there is a bylaw, and it's bylaw number 2023-8822, which places the entire municipality under site plan control. And it defines the different types of development or classes of development that are subject to site plan control. And it may be used or applied to all land uses, buildings, and structures in order to achieve attractive, functional, and safe development of the lands. And I just wanted to note that there are some classes of development that are excluded from site plan control. So these would be certain types of residential dwelling units, single detached residential units, semis, fourplexes, triplexes, any residential development that's less than 10 units. That would be excluded from site plan control. So no one can undertake any development which is subject to site plan control unless the city has reviewed and approved the plans. And once plans are approved, a site plan control agreement is prepared by planning staff. And the agreement is between the owner or the developer and the city. So no other third party is subject to this agreement. It's just between the owner and the city. The agreement describes the manner in which the property is to be developed and maintained even after construction. And that's an important part of this process as well. Now, a site plan control agreement is a legal document, and it is registered on title at the land registry office as well. So this, if there is site plan control that has been registered against a piece of property, it should be shown on title. So that's one thing that, if a member is looking to see whether or not their property is subject to site plan control, they can always check their title through the land registry office as well. So building permits are not generally issued until site plan control requirements have been addressed. And these are the requirements that are set out in the agreement. So there are 6 steps to site plan control. Well, maybe, sorry, 5 steps, but I always think there's 6 because I always say consult even before you pre-consult.
Right.
So the first step is pre-consultation. And this is right in the Planning Act. So municipalities have the authority to ask for pre-consultation even before an owner submits an application for site plan control. And the city provides this pre-consultation service at no cost to anyone for the review of concept plans prior to applicants making formal application for site plan control approval. And prior to meeting with city staff, the applicant needs to submit a pre-consultation application, which is available on the Timmins website. So it's timmins.ca. And this can be circulated via email to planning staff or dropped off at the City of Timmins at the building and planning counter. Once staff have received the pre-consultation application, staff will set up a pre-consultation meeting date. And the owner or their authorized agent is required to attend the meeting prior to submitting the site plan control application. Now, part of the pre-consultation process is that there are various city departments that will also attend the pre-consultation meeting with the owner or the owner's authorized agent. And these obviously would be the planning division, but we also bring in the building division, the fire department, the engineering department, and public works. And also, depending on the location of the subject property, external review agencies may be circulated the pre-consultation application prior to the meeting for review and comment. And these may include the Matagami Region Conservation Authority, the Ministry of Transportation for any development that's located within the ministry's or the MTO control area, and the Ministry of Mines. And this is due to any development that is within 1 kilometer of an abandoned mine information system point, which is known as an AMIS point. So basically they're mine hazards. That's just a term for mine hazards. So the purpose of this pre-consultation meeting is it provides an opportunity for the applicant to discuss their proposal with city staff. And then it also allows city staff to identify any drawings, supporting studies, and reports the applicant will be required to submit as part of the site plan control application in order for staff to be able to deem the application complete. And all requirements for a complete application are outlined during the pre-consultation meeting. So the second step is actually the site plan control application submission. And this is where it's the applicant's responsibility to submit a complete site plan control application with appropriate plans and fees to the planning division. And the application for site plan control is also available on the city's website. The application does include a checklist to help ensure that all relevant information is included as part of the submission. But during the pre-consultation meeting, the applicant would have been advised of what is required as part of the site plan control application submission. So that's why pre-consultation is a key step in all of this process.
I wonder how many times you say consultation in a day.
Quite a few. So as part of the application, the city requires 7 paper copies of the plans, the application, and any supporting studies and reports, plus digital copies of the application in PDF format, And all of that is to be submitted to the planning division. Now, I know that there is talk about going paperless, but at the moment, the city doesn't have the capability to review plans. So that's why we ask for, or to review plans electronically. That is why we still ask for paper copies. And the drawings need to be on 24-inch by 36-inch size paper. And if not, the city will not deem the application complete and the review process will not commence. And the reason why we ask for the plans to be on this size of paper is so that we can do a thorough review. It's very difficult to read a detailed site plan on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper.
Right.
And typically the site plan control approval process takes 6 to 8 weeks. That does not include the pre-consultation. This is from when the application, the site plan control application has been submitted to the city and it's been deemed complete. Then the clock starts to tick.
Okay.
So the third step is agency circulation. So once the application is deemed complete, the application, drawings, and any supporting documentation is circulated to commenting departments and agencies. And these include the engineering department at the city, the building division, the fire department, Timmins Transit, the Timmins Economic Development Corporation, and the City of Timmins Municipal Accessibility Advisory Committee. And depending on the issue, the Metagami Region Conservation Authority may also be circulated. And this is due to the fact that if a portion of the development lands are within the floodplain or require a site alteration permit, or if source water protection is required, or if the development is in one of the IPZ zones for source water protection, the Metagami Region Conservation Authority deals with those issues within the city. And I should just mention too, the site alteration permit, that would not be applicable to site plan control. That would be dealt with through site plan control. So if the MRCA would only deal with hazard lands and the source water protection. So the internal review time is 10 business days. So all of this information is circulated to the departments that I just spoke about or listed. And then the fourth step is comment. So commenting departments and agencies provide their comments to the planning division. And as I mentioned, there are 10 business days to do this. If there are comments, these are forwarded to the applicant for their review. And if there's any action that is required, the owner is made aware of this. So the comments may require revisions to the plans and any additional information with respect to supporting documentation. Once that has been completed, the owner or their agent would resubmit to the city. So this would be known as a revised submission. And planning staff will distribute the package to the applicable departments, so the departments that made the initial comments and or agencies for the review. And this second internal review time is 5 business days. Now, this process will continue until the city is satisfied that all requirements have been met. That's why I can't stress enough the importance of pre-consultation in order to have a better application right at the beginning of the process. So the step number 5 is actually the agreement. So when all plans are acceptable to all commenting departments and agencies, the site plan control agreement or amending agreement is drafted by planning staff and reviewed internally. After this review, the site plan control agreement is forwarded to the applicant for review and signature. And then the last step would be the execution of the agreement. So the applicant would return the signed site plan control agreement to the city, and that would be 3 copies that the applicant needs to sign. The mayor, the chief administrative officer, and the city clerk sign the agreement on behalf of the city. The approved site plan control agreement is then registered on title at the land registry office. And then the applicant is forwarded a copy of the signed agreement and stamped approved drawings. And one thing to note is that the city will not issue a building permit unless the site plan control agreement has been approved and financial assurance, more commonly known as a letter of credit, acceptable to the city treasurer, has been deposited with the city. So site plan control is usually done for a new building or a renovation to a building. So I just wanted to put a slide in here dealing with building permit issuance. So site plan control approval is one of several prerequisites to the issuance of a building permit. And building permit applications are to be submitted to the City of Timmins Building Division for review and approval. And that's all I have to say about site plan control. I know that was a lot of information to take in, and it's very technical. But if there are any additional questions or for additional information, the city's planning division's contact information is up on the screen. And I just want to take this moment to thank the chamber for allowing the city to come and talk to members about development and new developments and the way to move forward in the process. And hopefully owners and developers have a better understanding of the system that's in place here within the municipality. And one thing I should mention as well is this is a province-wide system. So this is not a City of Timmins system. This is a province-wide system.
Right.
So with that,
All
are there
right.
any questions?
So I can't see that, but Keitha, are there any questions in the chat box?
I do not see any questions. Cindy
Oh.
must have made it very clear.
That's Jason
great.
here. I was wondering if it's possible if we can get a copy of that the PowerPoint just for future reference, because I found there's lots of useful information there that's not really touched upon very often. So it'd be nice to reference back to if possible.
Yeah, Jason, you took my next line away from me, Jason.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't put my hand up.
Teasing, but we will, for those that recorded are registered for today's session, will receive both the recording as well as the slide deck, and it'll be included on the city's website as well as the chamber website. And it'll go in our Momentum newsletter on Tuesday as well. So plenty of opportunities to do that. And then to Cindy's point, if there are questions, planning@timmins.ca is where to reach out to. You probably can do a last call for any questions before we.
I have a quick question. Hi, it's
Absolutely.
Ariana. Hi, Cindy.
Ariana.
I know you can't see me, but it's really, really nice to see you. I just thought you could briefly touch on, existing sites that have been developed. maybe no site plan control agreement and, looking to kind of change the material footprint of the site and how a site plan control then might be required, that sort of process and how things kind of get grandfathered in if they're, legal non-conforming and all of that. Just, I know that's kind of not really a quick question, but I think it's important.
So just for everybody's information, Ariana is also a planner, so.
Oh, sorry.
You stick
Yes.
together. I like it.
Yes.
So we're
yes.
doing some planning speak here, but that's all good. It's all good. So, yeah. So one thing that I just want to touch upon is that in the bylaw that was approved by council in 2023, there are classes of development that are subject to site plan control. And that's why early consultation is such an important part of this process. An owner might have an idea, they want to come in to see whether or what they require from the city to move their project forward. And they may not require site plan control if it's a vacant piece of property, if it's less than 0.25 hectares in size, and the building is less than 550 square meters. So they may not require site plan control. If it's bigger than that, in terms of land size or building size, site plan control will probably be required, but that's where this early consultation piece comes in and staff can sit down with the owner and go through what they're looking at and do a review of the property to see what is required. If it is a piece of property that's already been developed, there may not be site plan control on the property because back before 2023, and we're talking 20 years ago, there were different requirements for site plan control. So there may not be a site plan control agreement on the property. But if the owner is going to be adding on to a piece of property or adding on to a building and the property is greater than 0.25 hectares in size, then a new site plan control agreement will be required. If that property was developed 20 years ago and there isn't a site plan control agreement on the property, then an amendment to that agreement will be required. So there's a few technical steps that need to be taken into consideration before a building permit is issued. And I'm sorry I didn't touch on that in the presentation, but I just wanted to lay out basically the steps that are required, but there's a few additional things that need to be reviewed as well. So that's why I always say early consultation, even before pre-consultation.
Cool.
And city staff, the planning division, we've got 3 planners now, so we're there to help.
Right.
Mhm.
Did that answer your question, Adriana? Do you have other short questions for us?
No, I just thought, with there's lots of instances where, like Cindy said, developed sites don't have site plan control. And, sometimes people, oh, well, I know some of my clients, well, why do I need site plan control now? Well, it's just part of the process. And I think it's good to have some information in line of sight on why that's required now,
Mhm.
but it wasn't back then, sometimes that can be a little bit of an area of contention. Well, why do I have to do this now? I didn't have to before. And there's a reason why. So no, thanks for that, Cindy. I thought good information to share.
Yeah, I hope that clarifies that.
Any other questions? Don't be shy, you can unmute.
One thing I should just want to comment on too is that the planning division works very closely with the building division. And between the two divisions, we have a good understanding of what developments are coming in. So we do try to work with the owners to get development agreements done as quickly as possible because we know the building season is so short here within the city due to the climate, obviously. So we really try to help out clients that come in to see us. So, but there are items that need to be addressed as well. Like engineering may have comments that we may not even thought about. So But we do try to help. A lot of people might not think so, but we do try to help.
That's great. Well, last call for some questions. So just to reiterate, we will send the recording as well as the slide deck. And we, in the email, we'll ask, but if you have other topics that either Cindy can, scoot across the street and have a conversation with us about, or any other department with the city as it relates to business and business development, we'd love to hear that feedback from our members so that we can continue to have conversations. And thank you, Cindy, for joining us today. And thank you, everybody, for attending. Enjoy the rest of your day and send us those questions. Thanks so much. Thanks, Cindy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye now.